So I have actually recently finished all of the Master Chief Collection LASO games, and as such, I get to have the beautiful thing of making a tier list about how difficult they were, and also the missions. I'm going to talk about like how the sort of standout missions from each game of like which ones I thought were the hardest, because my opinion on them doesn't really match like the general sentiment I've seen online, and I don't know if that's just me being contrary or what, but yeah. Anyway, so we've got our tiers here. Obviously we have the Halo 2 tier because, yeah, I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. But the rest of them are fairly straightforward. I don't know why Halo Combat Evolved is here. It bothers me a bit instead of it being like here. But, it's what it is. So we're going to start with Combat Evolved. Yeah, so I have some notes on these things. So I think the skulls in this game are the worst. Like, you can't use half of the weapons because you can't pick up any Covenant weapons. So already, like, anything with a shield, like the elites, are just, like, unkillable. It is horrendous. The workaround to this is that every time you kill a grunt, they explode, and it's like a tactical nuke going off. But that does require quite a lot of RNG around, like, is the elite stood in the right place? Is the grunt stood in the right place? And it can also backfire and just kill you. A lot of my deaths during this with, like, I'd throw a frag grenade, it would explode, it would kill grunts, and then they would explode. Any plasma grenades they had would explode, and one of their bodies would just get pinged at me, explode, blah, 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 I'm dead. So, generally speaking, I think this is the second hardest. I think it is incredibly difficult, but it's not impossible. There are a few bits where, you can skip a lot of the mission. Assault on the control room comes to mind, but a lot of the missions are just very hard. And if I go to my handy dandy, how do I get to the other one? Aha, the handy dandy other one, right? My other tier list. I'm going to just pick out, it's got all the missions, but I'm just going to pick out the ones that I think are hard. So the first one, Truth and Rec. Truth and Reconciliation is, I think, the hardest mission in Combat Evolved. It requires literally perfect gameplay. I had to reset on my first run because I didn't play perfectly. I got up to the ship and I didn't have enough ammo to get through the ship. That just meant I had to reset. There isn't a way around it. You just have to reset. You have to play perfectly and use go into the ship with like max ammo possible to even have a chance at getting through the hangar fight. And even then, it is still a complete RNG. I got lucky in the grand scheme of things with this mission, but yeah, it's a long mission. It requires perfect gameplay. Very not good. I think you need a guide for this mission. Halo Completionist, I used like his guides quite a bit. They helped massively, I will not lie. The next mission are they're hard, but they're not as hard as I sort of thought they would be. So the library, I heard horror stories about this mission, and it did take me a long time. I think it took me about 3 and a bit hours. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I don't know if that's controversial. I did die a lot in this mission. I'm not going to pretend I didn't. I think the issue with this was more like after the first door, there's that hallway, and I died so much there. It was just, yeah, I don't know. I think as I went up the higher levels, I really didn't die as much. It was literally just that first floor. I was struggling so much. I do think that you probably do need a guide for this, because like if you don't know where the shotgun is in this mission, you just never do it. I don't know if you need perfect gameplay, but I think you do need a lot of luck. I think it is still in this sort of category, but it's a clear step down from Truth and Rec. And then the other one I struggled with was Two Betrayals. This one is just a really long mission, and it's just a lot of combat. You just constantly have like enemies coming after you. The flood are just everywhere. There's vehicles everywhere. The elites, the Covenant are like, they're like the highest rank or whatever. You start getting the really strong elites and stuff during this. Like it was a hard mission. You don't need a guide to do this. I went through it, and I think there's a way to like skip most of this mission with like a Banshee, but I just killed everything. I think it goes here. It's hard. It's not impossible. I will say that the C LASO honestly taught me a lot of things about not only how to play LASO, but like some speedrun tricks, like the Banshee skip on Assault on the Control Room. And I saw the belly skip in Truth and Wreck, or the reveal skip in 343 Guilty Spark. They were really cool, and I think C speedrunning is really interesting. I don't think I'm ever gonna really get into it that much, but I really did think it was quite cool. Time for Halo 2. Right, we all know this is the hardest game. It really isn't a question. It is a horrible game to play. It's impossible without a guide. Just genuinely. You can get like 4 times overshield because of the skulls. Because Black Eye works differently in this game than it does to the other games. Like you can melee teammates or boxes or anything like that. Anything that has a destruction physic can give you shields. But you die in like 0.1 second regardless of how much shield you have. I think there are some different skulls in this game compared to C. Like CE has a very unique set of skulls. Halo 2's is a bit more standard, but I don't think it's the exact same as like 3 onwards. I think there are some unique ones, but yeah, genuinely, it's very clearly the hardest game. Everyone knows it. The Jackal snipers are insane. Everything's insane. We go to the missions. God, there's a lot of missions. I'm going to start with Regret. This wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I think this mission took me about 2 hours. And getting to the boss fight was actually pretty straightforward. It was just having a bit of luck in the boss fights to get through. I think it is still harder than like 2 Betrayals, but definitely not impossible. I think you need a guide. I don't think you need to play perfect for Regret. I think you can just get through it. I think all of the Halo 2 missions you need a guide for because they're just insane. Gravemind. Now, people probably think I'm going to say this is the hardest mission in all of LASO, but it isn't. I think it's the second hardest mission in all of LASO. It is horrible. The start, I must have died like 20, 30 times just straight off of spawn at the start. But there are a lot of things you can do to make this mission less terrible. You can skip a lot of the fights at the beginning. You can skip the prison section. There's just a lot of things where you can like, get out of the map and just, avoid a lot of fights, which other missions don't have. I didn't really enjoy learning the skips of this mission, like the prison skip. It just felt like it was complete RNG to me, but I don't know if it's because I was rushing it. The hardest mission here, and the hardest mission in all of LASO, is Cairo Station. This is the first level of Halo 2, and it is the worst level of Halo 2. It is just straight combat for the entire mission. The elites, you can't kill them, right? The only exploit in this mission is to give Johnson a plasma rifle and manually push him through the entire level, which, he does serve as a distraction, and he does occasionally shoot his plasma rifle and take out the shields, but the elites have like 10 layers of shields. So Johnson has to be stood in the perfect spot and shooting for like a minute straight to actually drop the shields of an elite. And when he's getting bounced around by grenades and stuff like that, it just doesn't happen. This is the hardest mission in the whole franchise for me on LASO. And it is really, if you can do Cairo Station, you can do Gravebound. You can do Regret. No issues at all. Cairo is horrendous. And Halo 2 as a whole, I actually had fun with Combat Evolved, which is probably a bit weird to say, but Halo 2 I did not have fun with. I did not enjoy doing Halo 2 that much. On to Halo 3. This one actually isn't that bad. It has a few really difficult moments, but you have standardized skulls from this point on, like 3, Odyssey, 4, and Reach. Just ignore this picture of Halo 5. That's just there. Just put that over there, I don't know. Yeah, Halo 3, it has standardized skulls, so these feel a lot more consistent with each other. These two, like 1 or Combat Evolved and 2, just don't feel like they have anything in common. But these two at least feel like these 4 feel like they have something in common. You can use all the weapons, and yeah, it's not as bad. The brutes are the main enemies in 3. They're a lot easier to fight than the enemies in Halo 2. You have plasma pistol, which just melts them. Like, one overcharged thing gets rid of their shields completely, and then you can just headshot them, and it's nice and easy. So I think Halo 3 probably goes here. It has some hard parts, but honestly, it's really not that bad. As for the hard parts, so we have the storm. I struggled an odd amount with the storm. So I don't know, it was this particular section, like I skipped the scarab fight, and I skipped it when I had a battle rifle and the rocket launcher, and I really needed a plasma pistol. The whole warehouse with full of the brutes just before the hunter fight, I just had nothing to deal with them. I put a lot of faith in the Marines. They didn't help me at all. I was like giving them the rocket launch and stuff thinking they'd do something, and they just didn't. I do think that I made it more hard for myself by not bringing a plasma weapon, so it probably goes here. Like, I think if you just bring the correct weapons, it's probably not as bad. I just made it hard for myself. What is next? The Covenant. This is the longest mission in Halo 3 by a good margin. Like, the mission before the Ark is also pretty long, but the Covenant just has everything in it. Every enemy, every vehicle, just anything you can think of is in this mission. And it is hard just because of how long it is and everything you have to fight. I had a couple of issues with the chieftain fights in the towers. I had issues with getting to the towers with the flying sections. I had issues getting out of the towers. I had issues with the dual... I had a lot of issues, actually, with the dual scarab fight. It took me a really long time, which I really wasn't expecting. I do think a lot of the challenge of this mission just comes from how long it is. I think if this mission was, like, split in half, it's like 2 separate, it wouldn't be as bad, but because it's just straight... I mean, it's about an hour on normal difficulty, so on this it was like 2-3 hours. Yeah, it's hard. It's not impossible. It's probably the lower end of this, like... And then the mission that I thought would be difficult, and I just didn't really have any issues with, was Cortana. I don't know if it's because, like, the Halo 2 flood missions and the Combat Evolved flood missions are quite intense, but Cortana, I thought would be a lot more difficult, and it just wasn't. I don't know. I'm not going to put it on here, because I don't know if people think this level's hard, but I really thought this was going to be, like, difficult, and it just wasn't. Next up, we have ODST, which, honestly, quite fun. I actually really enjoyed playing this game on LASO. Most of the missions are just really short. Like, they're like, on normal, they're like 10-15 minute missions. So on this, it was like 20-30 minutes. They have a lot of variety as well, because there's only like 7 or so missions, and you have like a sniper mission, you have a tank mission, you have a sneaky mission, you have the first mission. It's just, yeah, you have a lot of variety, and the gameplay is very similar to Halo 3, so like the actual fights really aren't too bad. The only difference is that you have engineers in this game, and sometimes enemies have shields, but it really isn't too bad. I think, honestly, it's the easiest one. I think most people know that. And then when it comes to the missions, I only have 2. I have notes on the side. I only have notes for 2 missions here. Kazinga Boulevard, I struggled with. I don't really know why. The Banshees and the raid, I couldn't shoot Banshees just with the tank at all. I struggled with it so much. And I think maybe I just thought this mission would be a bit easier than it was. Yeah, the final holdout, I think, was probably the hardest part of the entire game for me, which is quite shocking. I died so much in this mission. But I don't know. I think it's just sort of similar to the Storm. I just don't think I approached this mission right. The famous one from this game, Coastal Highway. And now I heard so much about how Coastal Highway was like the worst mission, or one of the worst missions in LASO, and I don't see it. I don't know if I was incredibly lucky or what, but this mission took me about 50 minutes, an hour, something, that ballpark. I died a few times, but it was like I could see why I died. I could fix why I died. Like it really wasn't anything horrendous. It never felt unfair. The hardest thing for me was fighting the banshees with the tank because I literally just can't shoot them. But yeah, I don't know. I heard so many things about how this mission was so hard, and I was anticipating it to be so hard, and it was literally just fine. Like, yeah, it was. I don't know. I really don't know if that was just me. Halo Reach. I hated Halo Reach. I'm gonna be honest. So you have the same skulls as ODST in 3, but the elites in this game are just on steroids. They throw grenades at like the speed of sound. They melee you in like the same frame that like you. As soon as you see the melee, you just die. Sort of thing is what I'm trying to say. And the missions are all really, really long. I do think it has some of the worst missions on LASO, to be honest. And I'm gonna put it in like on the same tier as Combat Evolved. I don't think it was as hard as Combat Evolved because it's a lot of RNG for CE, but Reach honestly just felt horrendous to me. Now, as we get into the missions, which I have to find because Christ, there's a lot of missions. First of all, Tip of the Spear. This mission was weird. I died so much here, but it was all in one bit. So the Falcon section just was awful. I got rinsed so much. And the run there was actually successful. Just felt like RNG over like anything I actually did. The mission before this, the mission after this, definitely not as bad. But oh, that Falcon section, I still think about it. I died so much in that. Long Night of Solace, where are you? So this is the sort of similar to Coastal Highway. This is the mission where I heard a lot about how hard this mission was, how terrible the space combat was. And honestly, I thought the space combat was fine. You can die very quickly, but there are a lot of places to hide and you can recharge your shield, so it really isn't too bad. On board, the Covenant Cruiser was definitely less fun. There's a lot of encounters where like you have enemies and they either rush you or just sit at the back of the room, and you don't really know what they're going to do. Like it's very just RNG dependent. Maybe they'll rush you, maybe they won't. Who knows? Definitely a hard mission. Definitely not as hard as I thought it would be though. I thought it was going to be like in this category. And I'm torn on if I put it like at the top of meh or yeah, I think it probably goes there. Maybe, actually, no, I think it goes here. I really don't think it was that bad. Now, the hardest mission is also the last proper mission. The Pillar of Autumn to me was horrendous. I struggled so much with this. It's such a long mission. Like, it just goes on and on and on. And every single fight I had in this mission just felt unfair. Like, the section with the hunters, like in the warehouses or whatever they are, factories, I died so many times. And it's partly because of choices I made, but again, the holdout section as well, where Emil dies, horrendous. So bad. Yeah, as I said, I felt like every choice I made just came back to bite me. Like, I had to take a break during this mission because I was just losing my head over how much I died. Probably goes here. Oh, no, there. Okay, somewhere in this ballpark. I don't know if it's harder than Regret or not. I think it actually might be. I really didn't find Regret that bad. Yeah, horrendous mission. I really didn't enjoy doing Reach. And this being the last proper mission really solidified that in my brain. And then last up, we have Halo 4, which, similar to Reach, really wasn't very fun. The plasma pistol does nothing in this game. Like, you just have to, like, melee everything. Like, the elites and the Prometheans, who exist in this game and are horrendous to fight, you have to, like, bait them into, like, a grenade throwing animation to melee them, but they can just snap out of that at literally any point and just insta-kill you. So I think it probably goes here. It definitely isn't on the same level of difficulty as these two, but it definitely is a step up from 3 and ODST. Now, the missions. Infinity. Infinity is a long, long, long mission. The jungle section is horrendous. I hated it. There's so many nights throughout this mission. I died so many times, most of which in that holdout section, because there's some like weird thing where if you kill too many of the dogs, like all of the knights just spawning at once for some bizarre reason. But I will say that after you've done that bit, it really isn't that bad. You can skip the whole tank section. The mantis fights are really easy. The end of the mission itself is that you can just hide for most of it and then just clear everything out with the mantis. So I think that it just has a peak of difficulty in the middle, and then the rest of it isn't too bad. So I'll probably, I don't know, I think I put it here. Now, the final mission, whatever it's called, Midnight, whatever that may be, this was horrendous. I hated this mission so much. I think it's the hardest mission in Halo 4. The first bit, the first space flying sequence, you can just skip all of it. But everything after is some of the worst Halo gameplay imaginable. You have so many knights, some of which can just insta-kill you with like the incineration cannon. They can push you off the map because they could just have that ability. It just really isn't a fun mission at all. I think it only took me like an hour and a half or 2 hours to do, but it felt like it took like 4 or 5 hours. It was just so unfun. A particular highlight is that final section where you have like the two sides you have to press the buttons on. The first side I did was really easy. The second side has like 7 knights that spawn in back to back to back to back, and you have to kill them without them killing you. And I think it starts off where like 5 of them spawn in at once, and then a couple more spawn in afterwards, and it's just so bad. I think just because it wasn't as long as I thought it was, it probably goes here. But yeah, very, very unfun mission, to be honest. I mean, it's a very unfun game, Halo 4, so it being the final mission, I suppose, was fitting. But yeah, that is my ranking of them. I don't think it's anything too crazy. I will say that I genuinely enjoyed Combat Evolved 3 and ODST. Like, I really did. Like, I didn't expect to enjoy them, but I did. Halo 2, like, I knew was going to be insane, and I went into it expecting that, and it was so satisfying to actually finish it and beat it. But Reach and 4 just were not enjoyable, and I really got, like, a sense of relief when I beat them, instead of like, oh, yes, I've done that. It was just like, oh, thank God that's over. They're my rings. Anyway, I know they're a bit different to the norm, but it's just my experience at missions. I am quite happy to know that I have these achievements now. I don't know if I'll go for like the speedrun ones, because I don't know how interesting they are. The Combat Evolved one seems fun, but the others, maybe not. But yeah, those are my games. The missions, if I can get it to come up. Yeah, this is my mission ranking. Cairo is the hardest mission, I think, in all of LASO. Gravemind is a close second. Yeah, I think it is quite telling that the first 2 games have like the 4 hardest missions. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. Obviously the new Halo comes out next month, I think, and there was like a trailer released and stuff like that. It looks pretty good, to be fair. I'm not gonna go like super negative. Oh no, they've changed the art style, blah 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 blah. I don't care that much, I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, that is my rankings. If you have anything different, let me know. And yeah, peace.